Hey, thanks for watching AMD Garage. With these videos, we hope to pass on some tips, tricks, tools, and techniques that are going to make your restoration job go a little bit smoother. Last time you saw this truck, we had fully assembled the short bed, dent side bed assembly, and that's on AMD Garage. If you want to search the back catalog, you're going to find it there in the installation videos. We're going to pick up where we left off and actually install the bed onto the chassis, which has been shortened, and we'll show you that here in just a sec. But I wanted to go back to this. We got the master body kit to help us out with this project, and it's really come in handy for quite a few different reasons. We've got all the fasteners that we need for this entire vehicle, and we've drawn from it several different times, including the bed bolts that we're going to need to lock it down to the chassis. A couple of other things. The fuel door we need because Chris's bed, I'll introduce you to Chris as well, had the round fuel door, and this one has the rectangular fuel door, and the fasteners are in the body kit, and we're going to install this as well. A couple of other bits of house cleaning that we're going to do are to put cab corners in it. The back of the cab, like a lot of F100s, is on the cab corners. It's kind of a moisture area to where it draws a lot of moisture in, packing dust, dirt, leaves, contamination, kind of holds moisture in those areas. And the cab corners, over time, they don't last very long. So we're going to put some cab corners in this thing, just a bit of housekeeping before we install the bed onto the assembly. We're going to build up a tailgate and do a lot of different things and show you guys along the way. But I wanted to show you the bed frame itself and talk to Chris about what has happened with that since we last saw this truck.
Right.
Chris, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Good.
Yeah.
So this is distinctly shorter than the last time we saw it.
Yes.
So walk us through the process. We can't go back in time, but we can see Chris Slee, Kiwi Classics and Customs. You've got a video on this on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, got the whole process in a video on my channel, showing how we did it in kind of long format.
And so this was not a kit, was it?
No, I'm not aware of a kit available for specifically for shortening the chassis on them. But you're really just removing material, not adding anything to it.
Right.
So really, it was one determining the correct measurement, how much to shorten it by, because if you look around, there's some people are saying 16 inches, 16 3/4, and there's a few different numbers. I did find some factory Ford drawings, and it's 16.2 inches. So, yeah, inches. So not 16 and a quarter, it's 16.2. So yeah, that's what he shortened it to, and just running the tape measure over the bed now, it looks like it's lining up perfectly. So, but yeah, the biggest challenge really was these dent side trucks, as they refer to them, because of the dent in the side where the moulding goes. Yeah. Ford changed the chassis slightly from the previous model, which looks very similar, and the chassis rails are no longer parallel. They used to be, on the earlier model, they were parallel all the way through, front to back. Right. So you cut them, you slid them together, they're all lined up, welder up. Right. Quite easy. But these rails taper, so you can, if you look along here, you can see we get right to here, and it takes quite a turn in. So that's where it's narrower, that's where it was wide, and when you take 16 inches out, instead of being a gradual turn, it becomes a much steeper turn. But the way I chose to do it was like doing an S cut. So we cut across here, down, back along, and down again. So you get a much longer weld area. Right. It's a stronger way of doing it. So then we ended up with like this mismatch, and we just I bent the bottom half of the rail out, the top half of the rear rail in, and they just lined up. Right. So it worked out quite nice.
And you've also done a technique that actually I learned from my dad years ago. He worked at a big truck company, and they would bob the 18-wheeler conventional tractors. Right. And it's called fish plating, and where you put a diamond-shaped plate on the back, you don't completely weld the whole surface, but you leave spaces. Why do you leave those spaces not solid welded?
To allow for flex.
Yes.
These chassis flex a lot. And it's not because they're weak or they're not made well.
They're designed
to flex.
Yeah.
If they don't flex, they break. So if you go and, some people will box the inside here, where they've done the cut, they'll put a big boxing plate here, which makes it super rigid. So then you have flex forward, flex rearward, and no flex here. So you get a point that's going to want to break and crack.
Yeah.
So you actually plate it, and you make sure you've reinforced your welding, but you still leave some flex in there, and that's why you stitch weld the fish plate in. So you'll do a couple of inches of weld, leave an inch, couple of inches, leave an inch.
Yeah, so that's an important technique to remember for you guys. If you're doing this, don't do the solid welds, and we'll show you pictures. And of course, if you want to see the whole process, go to Chris's channel, Kiwi Classics and Customs, and he'll show you, and he explains it along the way. So this brings us to the juncture. Oh, and they say we got a new drive shaft also.
Got a new drive shaft.
Because we had to.
Had to. It had a two-piece drive shaft originally, and I was initially thinking, oh, we can just shorten the back half of it. But that's a no-no with drive shaft. So I learned from our local drive shaft guy in Nashville, is that there is actually a formula for how long the front half or front section of the drive shaft is and how long the rear section of the drive shaft is.
Yeah.
And there is a specific formula, and if you don't abide to that, you're going to have alignment problems, vibration problems. Yeah. So it was better off just to ditch the two-piece, get a one-piece, cut the two-piece mount off, and there we go.
Yeah, perfect.
So,
you got your park brake cables all reassembled, everything.
Well, that was
together.
A great trick by Ford. Like I'm thinking, I was thinking of all the things I'm going to have to shorten. I'm going to have to shorten the e-brake cables. But what Ford had done is they actually had a little 16-inch extension that clipped onto the cable, this cable, and lengthened it by 16 inches. So you just take it out, put it over there, hook these back into the little T.
So instead of two different part numbers for the cables, they've got the same part number for the cables and then an additional part number for the extension.
Yeah.
Oh,
so it just made it really easy.
Yeah, no doubt. We've got a new AMD tank in there.
Yeah, new AMD tank.
So we're essentially ready to set this back down and bolt it in, except for these holes right here, right?
Yes. We've got a couple of little holes that were in the chassis, but they're not the actual bed holes. You can just kind of see them here. They're going to work out very close, but what we're going to do is drop the bed on, put 6 of the bolts in, make sure we can do it by tape measure, but you've got to be right on. I'd prefer to, I've measured
just
it.
Drop
a
silver Sharpie down in the hole, right? Yeah, exactly.
And mark it. We know we can put 6 out of 8 bolts in there. We know that's right. We can stand back and make sure the wheels are in the wheel arches where they're meant to be, and I didn't screw something up shortening the chassis. So and then mark it, take it off, drill them, done.
Yeah, excellent. So we can do that, we can drop it on, and we've got to pull it back off anyways, but we also are going to replace
the cab corners.
Some of the cab corners there, because that's not good. And while we're in here, heck, AMD's got them all day long in the catalog, so let's throw some cab corners. It's just an outer sheet metal patch, and we might have to do a little bit of an inner one on that side, because I'm seeing some daylight there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of daylight right through, but we just got a quarter-sized patch to do on that inner.
Yep.
Which is kind of next to nothing. It's got a little bit of daylight through here. So, yeah.
So that's going to be basically the crux of it. We're going to build up the tailgate, as well as Chris was daydreaming, and he said, what about the wheel trim, the wheel arch moldings? And AMD has these all day long in the catalog as well. So do yourself a favor, go and either send us an email and request a catalog, or come and find AMD, an AMD Garage at a car show, and we've got tons of catalogs. Grab what you need, and then that'll lead you to autometaldirect.com website for a more expansive view of what's in the catalogs, pricing guides, shipping costs, all those types of things, and just create your wish list, and we'll fulfill it as well. We've got the cab corners here, so we're kind of ready to start crack-lacking. All right, so we've got a pretty big patch panel right here, but that doesn't mean we have to use all of the patch panel. I like that they give us a lot. It's a nice accurate stamping, but we don't need to patch this whole entire panel. Right here, I always like to take advantage of the factory style lines if we can, so we're gonna section this about there, and I can feel on the inside that we've got good integrity in the metal. And for the back, I'm just going to kind of cut and inspect. We might come up here, something like that. Obviously, we're going to trim around the double flange here, get some spot welds drilled, and just kind of peel away, do some excavation, some archaeology work on the metal. And obviously we've got a patch on the inner structure as well. So we'll take care of that one at a time, but the first step is to get the outer off of here, and then we can make our patch according to the real estate we've got to cover up here. Me and Chris are going to divide and conquer. He's doing the driver's side, I'm doing the passenger side, and we'll get this knocked out.
I've just taped roughly where I feel like I need to do the join. We've got a little bit of rust, like the other side we can join it just below this body line. This side's going to have, because of that hole, is going to have to come up above it. So I've just kind of gone up high enough to get some nice thick metal still. So I'll probably cut that within about half an inch below that. Just rough cut it out, and then start picking the spot welds off, and just get a nice clean base to start the repair. So yeah, time to do some drilling. Too bad. You can see why they get water and dirt in the cab corners, because that's just open to any road, dirt, water that's getting thrown up by your front wheel ends up inside here. And yeah, it was always going to rust. But that's just how it is. Right, now I've got the rough cut off. I will now start to get the spot weld cutter or chisel and get the last bit off. So we've got a clean slate to start with.
So while Chris is preparing his patch, this metal right here, it's still got decent integrity, so we're going to scale that a little bit with something like that. And I've got some rust converter that we're going to brush on and just let that sit and cook while Chris is doing his outer patch.
Popped off easy. Oh, my cut-off wheel.
Oh, I took it. I'll get you a better tool. Hang on.
Need to be a little more aggressive on that one.
There's a flap wheel.
Aha. Very good. Left a bit there. All right, so this is rough cut out, and we've got rid of the spot welded sections. Now it's time to do a final cut on here. Now I just rough cut it here so we could get in, get rid of the junk, and make sure there was no surprises behind here that it was going to change where I wanted to cut. I'd rather do two cuts in the right place than one cut in the wrong place and have a whole lot of work to do. So yeah, I've taped the line, kept it nice and straight. Be as careful as you can cutting this line, because these need to be butted up and welded, so you want a nice clean join without lots of gaps. So you take your time. This is like the last cut, and make it as neat and tidy as you can. It will save you, take you an extra 5 minutes doing the cut, but it will save you half an hour on the other end. Get a bit closer to me work. Thank you.
I've actually got some, never mind.
Here we go. Now, start cutting the patch panel. Well, we might clean up a little bit of this a bit more. But, yeah. All right. Grab that one.
bunch of these.
There you go.
Are you done with the cutoff wheel for a sec?
I have. This Milwaukee stuff is nice, isn't it?
I like that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, electric tools they're just different than pneumatic. There's more torque.
Yeah.
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 And what I like a lot about some of the Milwaukee stuff is that they throw LED lights at it. And so it backlights everything immediately.
It does. That makes a big difference.
Yep.
Especially as our eyesight's not getting any better, is it?
No.
Cold, hard reality of
That
it.
is the truth.
All right.
So I'm feeling better about this side, Chris.
This side's good. Doesn't need any inside repair at all.
I was thinking I would have to go up here, but this metal's good right here.
Right.
I'm going to get around behind it. Just a tiny little pinhole right there, so I'm just going to get rid of this.
They put a lot of seam sealer in there, didn't they?
I sure did. Some of
Which
that
helped, but
yeah.
having this big hole there didn't help.
But I've got some 14 gauge flat stock.
Yeah.
I'll just cut a square hole. That's a good thing about flat patches. They're super easy to make.
Yeah, that'll be cool. And if you can just fix that little whoopsie higher up while you're there, that'd be good.
Oh, that one right there? Yeah, I was busy that day. How'd you do that? That's a new one.
No, I know. No. That was there when I bought it.
Yeah.
I swear. All right. Have you dry fitted your one on yet, Kevin?
No, I have not yet.
Good grief.
What?
It's really good.
I thought you were having a problem.
No. And
Okay.
it fits everywhere. Yeah, you could easily just cut it through there, put the whole patch in, but
Your call if you want to do that.
no, I don't particularly want to.
If you
I'd
had
rather
to.
do that, but like this, it's not. It's that like this seam here is lining up.
Yeah.
That's lining up. Behind here you can't see here, but I can feel it. That's perfectly lining up around here.
Yeah.
Into the door jams, exactly where it should be.
Good show. That's great.
That's awesome. So. What I've done here is just overlaid the panel, just used a white marker. That's approximately where my cut is. Now, emphasis on the word approximately. I'm not going to cut it on that line. Again, I'll cut it a little longer as opposed to a little shorter. When there's a lot less of the repair panel, it's going to fit slightly differently. So, one of those things, I just like to sneak up on these things, not try and get it on the first cut, because very unlikely you'll get it on the first cut. So I'm probably going to give myself 3/4 of an inch above where I need to be, and then refit it and see how my lines are lining up. I'll go and peel that cut-off wheel back. really no, we are going to butt weld it, but when you put a patch panel on and there's no gaps, like anywhere around, that makes life a lot easier. So, I've just marked it slightly. That's where it wants to sit. It's just slightly higher. I'll probably make that the final cut on this, and then scribe it round here, and then trim a little bit, the last little bit off here to get our butt weld, or butt joint. So we're getting closer. If I slide this down a little now, if it'll let me, we really are only overlapping by just a small amount. If that's where we want it, I'm going to get a scribe, mark this out to the last cut. Okay, thank you.
There's another if you need it.
Just going to check how the body line here is lining up with the body line here. Get the door shut properly. There we go. That's pretty good. Maybe sneak it down a little, if we can. There we go. That's good. That's good. That's its new home. Now I like to use a scribe rather than a Sharpie because it just gives you a nice fine line to follow. Yeah, Sharpie makes an 1/8 of an inch wide line, and you tend to wander, your cut tends to move around on that line, and you can kind of end up not as straight as you'd like. This way you've got a very fine, sharp line to follow. There you go. Zoom in, you might be able to see that. You can just see the little scribe line there. So we'll cut that off. It should fit now, in theory. And what are we doing here? It's the wrong part. That is a pretty darn good fit.
Heck yeah, man, that looks great.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm impressed. With the patch, not with what I've done, but just the patch.
I'm impressed with both.
There you go. Awesome.
You got to reinforce them a little bit every once in a while.
Drill some holes around here for plug welds.
While you do that, I'm going to brush the rust converter in on the inside.
Okay. Where do I need it? Down there. Yep. Okay.
Now this is a rust converter. It goes on white, but it turns black. It reacts with the iron oxide and turns it to a zinc phosphate if you want to know the chemistry. Yeah, you can already see it turning purple. I get this online. Typically I get mine from the Eastwood company. They've got one. And it's not the only rust converter, but this is a good one. So we'll let this dry. Probably put another coat on while Chris is drilling holes. We've got that other cab corner to do as well. We'll use a combination of this, some high quality weld through primer, and that way we'll make sure the back side of this repair holds up as long as the front side. All right, let that sit and think about it. So this is a different school of thought when it comes to getting rid of spot welds. Chris used a spot weld cutter, which you have to do a centering bit, and they're very effective. But what a lot of modern collision guys will do is use a bandsaw like this. They'll locate their spot weld and just grind down through it until the metal blues, until it gets really thin. And then you can take your separator knife and it just kind of because the metal's blued, it's weak and it's super thin. And what it does, in the first place, if you don't have a set of spot weld cutter bits, this will get you there. In the second place, it respects that back side of the panel. I have over-drilled spot welds many times and gone through both sides, and it kind of makes you feel like you didn't do it properly, because you kind of didn't. But anyway, this is another way to go about that. So we've got the exposed backside of that metal right there. I'll grind that with a flap wheel. But that's another way to get around spot welds when you're separating a pinched weld panel. And that one's still hanging on for dear life. Yeah, we still got a little bit of work to do there. There, we've got a little bit of work to do on those guys. We'll come back with our flap wheel, trim those out. Bob is your uncle on there. I'm gonna get the cutoff wheel, cut that, and do the same rust treatment on this side, except we've got a small hole here, so I'm going to make a patch for that. And right there, and that is the template for my patch. truth is, rust repair is random. We may have similar cab corners, but the damage caused by age, rust, moisture, and humidity happens differently in different panels. It could have to do with the way the truck is sitting, the climate that it's in, and the exposure to the elements that the vehicle has had. So each repair is subjective. The left cab corner needed different reinforcements to the inner panels than the right cab corner. So you're just going to have to take one at a time and just think your way through the process. Just make sure that you're welding good metal to good metal.
There you go. That's it done. A little less juice on your welder, Kevin.
Less juice?
Clears? Just a little. The replacement panel is actually thicker than the original panel.
What about your wire speed?
That's probably okay. But
Okay.
Just a little bit less. Will be good.
Yep.
There we go.
Better?
Nice. Give that a little rest for a moment. Everything's getting quite warm. So we'll just let it cool off a little bit naturally, and then we'll carry on, do some more welding.
Well, that looks great. So we're gonna obviously grind those welds down, grind those flush, wipe a skim coat of filler on there, get it under primer. And Chris did such a great job on this side that he's volunteered to do the other side as well. So I'm gonna get my body filler out, and I'll be working on this, and we'll divide and conquer one more time so we can test fit that bed. All right, so we got a DA down. I used 180 grit. Got a little more sanding to do there. Got a little shiny spot, but what this allows me to do is use a conventional body filler that's direct to metal application and requires 180 grit at least sand scratches. So we're just gonna wipe that transition all the way through here. And just for cosmetic reasons, this one down across the bottom, we won't have to put any filler at all here, or certainly not past there. It just bridges that repair. And we'll use a primer on top of that and get it ready for body work. And then when Chris decides whether or not he's even gonna paint this truck, he can follow suit with all of that stuff. And this gets us, the cab corner is fully burned in and it's ready for filler.
Should be big enough, I feel.
Yep, plenty of room.
Cool. You get your little table back now, Kevin.
Get those shavings out of there so it doesn't rust.
Mm.
Yep, that's it.
About 12 inches to go. Pretty close now.
Okay, so ballasting backward is the ticket.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna let it down and then I'll get that fuel hose in. All right, you good?
I'm good.
All right, we've got to come your way a little bit. Yeah, we're in good shape, man. All right, so it's completely down. We've got to come.
Feels like we're hung up on something back there.
Yeah, it's hung up on the bumper.
Ah.
All right, so I'm going to lift up and push forward. There we go.
There you go. That bolt's dropped in. Haven't even moved it.
Well, that's a good sign.
That's a good sign. We need more bolts.
Yeah, let me get one of these fronts. I'm just nervous about them. Now we're gonna have to get the drifts and tug it around on the front. This one should line up. Front's in.
Quite sure we're miscuing there slightly. Oh, look at that.
Try that. It's not a hammer.
Ow!
All right, should we get this out of the way?
I think we may as well, yeah. Oh, pull this. We'll slide the sides in, shall we?
All the way?
There we go. 2 bolts left to go in.
Magic. Yep, that one should drop right in.
Done.
All right, camera guy, get this angle here. What you want to have is eye level right around here, and you want to follow this along here. This is what we're lining the bed up with. These two style lines are going to match up with these two style lines here. And sometimes, actually quite frequently, we would have to shim a bed against the frame to lower it and raise it and make sure the phrase I use is that it talks. But this right here is perfect. So what does the other side look like, Chris? Let's take a look. So again, I'm eyeballing here. I'm looking like this. I'm seeing the shadows. And it looks just about right. So height, it's perfect. The gap between the bed and the cab right here, I think it's a little tighter on the other side than it is on this side. No, I take that back. Well, a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just kick it forward just a skosh right there. That's pretty close.
Ooh. Wow, that's noisy.
All right, so the bed is locked down, and so 8 half-inch bolts this long.
Oh yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
No.
So we've dipped into the master body kit again, and this is a tailgate set. It comes as a set, and fasteners, of course, are in the master body kit. So this gives us all of what we need to get this tailgate built back up and installed onto the vehicle. I just want to bring your attention to this. This chrome handle here, this is going to be the nicest piece of chrome on the whole truck. On the whole truck.
Absolutely it is.
What are you going to do with that?
That might be the nicest piece of chrome on any of my cars.
Well, very cool. All right, where do we start with this, Chris?
Probably put those in.
Yep.
Now,
I think do you need to put a rod in and then slide the rod in?
Probably, yes. Yes. Which end is which?
So the hooky-doo end.
That's a clip end. That's going to go in there, I think.
Yep.
Like that.
Exactly.
Pull that.
I believe that's correct.
I believe that's correct. All right. Now, you were saying which side was which, weren't you?
Yeah. So I've got them laid out left to right. So this would be your left-hand side here.
Oh, okay. So that's, hang on, it was this, so that's that side? This side?
That side,
This side. Okay, that's going to go in there.
All right, and these two will meet in the middle. We'll loosely screw everything together, and then get these pins aligned with the clips on the tailgate latch itself.
Now, if that goes in like that, Kevin, is that little thing pointing the right direction?
Well, one will go up and one will go down. The orientation of the screws tell me that the latch goes this way. And so that one, yeah, they both got to be kicked up. So this one is correct, because it's got to go into that clip like that. Hold on just a second.
That's looking more like what I was expecting it to look like.
Yeah. And so,
pull it out and feed it back in once you're in?
no.
Nope.
Okay. Just gotta be holding my mouth right. Okay, so there. Now it's in the clip. Bottom that out.
You're not in far enough yet. There you go.
Yeah. There's one side.
Now, is that rod facing the right? Oh, it is. Look at that. It is facing the. We got it right. 50-50 chance that we got it right.
I'm all out of
that
eyeglasses here. I gotta get. So now on this side, it's a little easier actually. The pin's got to go up through. I'm kind of glad they made these orange. So that's locked in there.
those coming in and out?
No. Oh no, it's pulling on it for sure, yeah. Meet me at the tailgate, Jay. And so here's the striker set that goes in. Just like there. Just hold your mouth just right for that to go in. Note to self, definitely put the tailgate straps on before the strikers.
Well, I did try and tell you that, Kevin, but you know. You're welcome.
Alrighty, so what we have to do, when we test fit this gate, Chris, we needed some shims. You remember how many we needed?
No.
Should we just do one on each side just to see how that works?
Sounds like a plan. A little wee rubber bump. It comes with everything, this bolt kit. Man. Little bump stops here.
Heck yeah.
There we go. Stop it rattling, hopefully.
So let me get this pivot in here first. Slot to the outside. That sits in. Oh, we're going to put a shim in, right?
Yeah, just one.
Let's just do one. All right, you good to go?
Shim go out. Hang on. I think that's going to do better off up like that, I think. Shouldn't have disappeared.
Oh.
Try not to do that. Come out a little bit.
In the slot. All right, so can we open it a little?
We can.
Well, I can get this one started. Come on, fingers. Do your thing. All right, so we're going to add the second shim, pull this off, and we'll just meet you on the other side of it.
A little handy hint, I think, would be sticking those shims in with a little bit of grease.
Probably would be.
Would be.
Well, we can get in there with a...
Yeah. I'll just keep them in there like my ones keep dropping out.
Axle grease. Yes, that's a great idea.
Just to stick them in, and it won't hurt with the lubrication.
Tech tip brought to you by Kiwi Classics and Customs. Little dab will do you. Bam, no more falling out. Okay. All right, that is in. Come straight up. All right, so now let's get it on these straps. So hang on.
Like that. So then you let it down. Oh, and you get it engaged properly. There we go. Oh, that's spinning it.
All right, now they should
Lean it in.
Fold in. All right, so we've got to come up.
Yep. Yeah, mine's way low as well.
All right.
Ooh. Okay.
So I'm just going to pull it up as high as possible. It needed to come up a pretty good bit.
Yeah, mine was probably half an inch low.
I'm just going to snug the top to start. I don't know what your side looks like,
good
but
there.
This side looks really good.
I'm a little tight on the top, but I think that's pretty parallel until we get to there.
Yep. Well, do you want to fix that right now with a flap wheel?
Yeah.
About like that. So that's our trim line for the flap wheel. And we've cross-referenced and measured the bed sides themselves, and everything is squared up. So this is just a bit of a casting difference in that tailgate. Right?
Yeah. It's not quite all the white line, but I'm nervous to go too far because it's hard to put it back on. Mm-hmm. No, it's pretty good now.
It's pretty good. A little bit
Last
more.
little bit at the top.
Yeah, just a little bit more at the top, and then it'll match this side. That's pretty stinking close.
Those are triple crown winning gaps, those are.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's awesome. That bracket's clearing now. They never.
You got to pull the handle while you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've got no lever, everything's dry, and all the latching things is completely dry. So. That latch is a little far in, maybe. That's because we haven't adjusted the striker plates, have we?
Yeah, we have not.
So that one's pretty good, and it's squashing on that rubber thing nice. Just a hand file will probably do that, or the sandpaper.
Let's get that bit of flash off of there. All right. So shall we snug it up, or do you want to adjust?
I think it's pretty good.
It looks good to me.
Yeah. Yeah. You can see like the little hinges in here, but that's just standard procedure. That's how they work.
Yep. Well, I'm going to take the liberty of snugging those bottom pivot bolts.
There you go. Let that settle in for a while.
Yeah, it'll bounce and wear and fit and fiddle. And
Awesome.
I hate that we have to change your custom taillight mounts, but I think for you going back home on the road and public roads, your taillights probably need to be.
And I think we probably need some new AMD taillights.
I think we do.
They're a little, they're looking fairly,
Yeah, they're on the south
second-hand
side
now.
of Warren for sure.
yeah.
All right,
I
one
think
more
we can do
job.
that. One more job.
Well, Chris, you definitely need to hit the AMD catalog and get yourself some taillights.
Yeah, they don't really blend, do they? They're not vibing together, are they?
No, street legal is the best you can hope for now. But short of your marker lights, which you've got them on order.
Yeah.
So this is now a complete short wheelbase conversion. So what are your thoughts,
done.
man?
I mean, I love it. I love the look of it.
Yeah.
And driving it, admittedly with no bed on, but like driving it down here, they're different to drive with that shorter wheelbase. They ride different, they turn different, but I like it. It's better. So yeah, I'm thrilled with it. And the quality of the product is outstanding.
I think so too. And nothing just jumps together. But we had a real easy time fitting these panels, squaring them up. Even the tailgate, which typically they're persnickety sometimes too. But nothing falls together, but it fits together.
Yeah.
And the only real slotting or adjustment we had to do was on that end of the tailgate and open up that gap a little bit.
Yep.
I'll take that as a big W.
I've done a lot of quarters on Mustang, rear quarters on Mustangs, and man, you have them on and off 15, 20 times and trimming and nicking and fussing to get them right. So this was very straightforward.
Put your thinking cap on for the people that are watching this, start to finish, including, let's just run a recap through. So we put the bed assembly together. That was, we had a day and a half into that with you and me.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've done stuff like this before, but you know, get a buddy, count 2 days, put your bed assembly together, and then for you at your shop, trimming the bed down or the frame down, shortening the wheelbase. What kind of real time did you have in that?
That took, I did try and keep it, I'm trying to remember now what it was, but I basically had it back together in a day.
Right.
Which, you know, I've done the chassis shortening before, so like doing it the first time, you'd be a bit nervous, like I was, you know, so then you're spending a bit more time measuring and fussing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, a day and a half for your average, you know, weekend warrior to shorten a frame, I think is quite doable.
Yeah, for sure.
That's if you've got the right bits of equipment on hand, you know.
Yeah, that's and that's kind of a big thing sometimes too. So maybe let's just call that 2 days.
Okay.
Don't forget to measure for your drive shaft. If you're going from long wheelbase to a short wheelbase, especially in a dense side truck, you go from a 2-piece drive shaft to a 1-piece drive shaft. So follow Chris's lead on that. Have a drive shaft professionally made. Have it balanced properly. So you don't even have to think about it and worry about it. You may have to measure it, but there's, you know, the internet will tell you how to measure for a drive shaft, right?
Yeah.
And then today, what do we have in today?
Well, the day's not over, and we're done.
Yeah, you're driving home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and it takes longer when you're making these videos.
well, for sure. Well, my point is that you throw the video camera in because we want to show you all the angles and all the proper stuff that we're doing. But real time, 5 days.
Yeah.
I think it's a good 5-day project. So count on that. If you want to do long to short wheelbase conversion on one of these, you're not trimming bed sides, you're buying bed sides. And the other school of thought is to take your long wheelbase truck down and trim it and cut it, and there's a whole lot of welding. This is, I think, certainly the path of least resistance, and it looks factory correct.
It looks factory correct, and there's no rust in it.
No.
Well, I mean, the bed that came off this truck wasn't bad, but it did need a new center section of the floor, and that's one of the most expensive pieces.
Yeah.
And you've got to cut it apart, the whole bed,
Yeah.
to then reassemble it around the floor.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that was a good bed
Yeah.
by typical standards. So,
By the way, we did not do any undercoatings or any type of a coating or protective coating or bed liner to the bottom of this bed assembly. Chris is going to have this thing off and on a couple of more times to do other things that he's got to do, and he's going to take care of that then. But the electrodeposition primer, the black primer that you see here, is not bad, but if you want a stronger coating, you might want to think about doing something like that, and I think the perfect time to do that would be with the bed standing up on end.
Yeah.
But, you know, we decided since you're going to have this thing off again, you could just do it up on your two-post lift, right?
yeah. But really, like, with that gadget you've got for lifting them,
Yeah.
which I'm going to get one of them,
Yeah.
you know, it's 8 bolts. It's 8 bolts, and you know, they're carriage bolts, so you just spin them off and then disconnect your wiring and it's off.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there you have it. I mean, that's a project. It's a good project. It's not a difficult project. It just takes a little bit of time. So we hope that you have gotten a lot of good information out of this video and that you now know a lot of the stuff that AMD covers and offers for these trucks. So you want to see the wheelbase shortening happen without a kit? Go to Kiwi Classics and Customs on YouTube.
yep.
Chris has got some other great content that he's compiled over the last couple of years, and he will continue to do so. It's a good channel to watch, and Chris explains things thoroughly as he goes through his tech as well. So thanks for watching AMD Garage. Hit us up on the internet. Come see us at a car show. Go to autometaldirect.com. You got a 360-degree view of every part that we put on here. You can see the quality of the insides, back sides, outsides, top sides, and front sides, and you get a good idea of what you're investing in for your project. So have fun in your garage, as my good friend Rod Kraft says, but also know that you can do this. This is something that's achievable, right?
Absolutely it is, yeah. Yeah, this is not rocket science.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.